Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation, with the second part of a little mini-series on the outlook of silver for 2019. In the first video, we covered the negative aspect of silver as being the outcast of the precious metals. In this video, we're going to look at 10 reasons why silver will outshine gold in 2019. And this article comes to us from Seeking Alpha. And it's written by Robert Kientz, and it was sent to me by Silver Honda, who happens to drive a blue Honda. So this particular piece talks about pretty in-depth detail about silver and why it could outshine gold in the coming year. Since the beginning of time, silver has fascinated people around the world. The metal has been the subject of various religions, a tireless tool of trade, a shiny sign of wealth, and a unique metal whose very precious properties have made it stand out from its peers. So here's 10 reasons why silver's luster will be brighter than gold in 2019. There's the magic of silver, and it actually shows some infographics here that talks about the metal here. Quite neat illustrations here. In ancient times, silver was attributed to the gods who kept it shiny and rust-free. Silver was commonly used in magic and ancient shamanistic rituals, where it was attributed with all sorts of powers. And the Incan goddess of moon is said to have cried tears of silver. As a result, silver is often associated with femininity and the moon. The history of silver starts with magic. Silver has been associated with magic because it never rusts, does not react with other substances, although it does tarnish. It keeps food and water fresh and pure. Many people use it in shamanistic rituals. It has been, in fact, associated with the gods because it did not seem to tarnish and wear over time like some of the metals. The special properties were associated with supernatural powers, where mystic literature claims that werewolves and vampires would be killed with silver. It also believed to deflect harmful spirits and energy. Silver's reflectivity and color is symbolic of the moon, the Incan goddess Mamaquilla, translated Mother Moon, is a goddess of the moon and is said to cry silver tears. Silver has been therefore always been associated with femininity as well as both the lunar and menstrual cycles, which is why women should acquire more silver. There you go. Silver's wide array of uses. The noble metal, silver has a vast set of uses in industry, for adornment, and for wealth savings vehicle. Below is a detailed look at many of the incredible ways in which society has found to utilize silver's unique properties. There you can see it for silverware. Food and drink were stored in containers lined with silver to keep them fresh. Silver powders and tinctures were applied to wounds to prevent sepsis. It's obviously was used in jewelry today, photography at one time, much more, not as much now, but in electronics, obviously in coins and bars. It's used in electronics and electrical wire and connections. 36 million ounces of silver is used in the automotive industry for electrical contacts for power windows and battery connections. Silver is present in computers, mobile phones, televisions, DVDs, long life batteries, and many other types of technology. Silver is used in ball bearings that need to withstand high levels of heat within engines. Silver is used in flexible computing screens and LED lights. Perhaps the most popular use of silver is in solar panels, an industry which has exploded in popularity in recent years. I can attest to that. According to Geology.com, a leading geoscience news magazine, the number one use of silver in industry is in electronics. Silver's unsurpassed thermal and electrical conductivity among metals means it cannot easily be replaced by less expensive materials. Medicinal uses. Silver was recognized for its antimicrobial properties for food and medicine through ancient peoples. Though ancient peoples had no knowledge of science or biology, silver powders and tinctures were often applied to wounds to prevent spread of infection and sepsis. The Romans knew that putting a silver coin in a barrel of water would result in less men getting sick during travel. As such, silver was dubbed a noble metal worthy of its finest of soldiers, kings, and gentlemen alike. Today, silver is used as an antibiotic coating on medical devices to prevent contamination, used in wound dressings to prevent infection, included in creams and cleanse scrapes and wounds, and is even bottled in ionic solution to be used as an immune system booster. Silver compounds have been used externally as antiseptics, such as in eye drops to prevent conjunctivitis. Further, dermatologists often use silver nitrate in stick form to treat corns and warts. Silver nitrate also was used successfully to treat skin ulcers, compound fractures, and suppurating wounds, well before the time of Lister. Silver has been used in surgical implements such as bone prostheses, reconstructive orthopedic surgery, as well as cardiac devices. Silver also has historically been used in dentistry as fillings mixed with mercury. The dangers of mercury have caused alternative filling material to be developed, but silver is still considered safe for dental use. Coins and metals. Silver is minted into coins and metals for investment, and although I would say for hedging. The U.S. Mint has sold millions of ounces of American silver eagles in recent years. In September, the U.S. Mint announced a temporary stoppage in the production of silver eagles due to running out of silver in storage. Photography. According to Popular Photography, silver is what enabled photography to be used by everyone. Created at the end of the 19th century, gelatin silver processing was the first time that the bromide in silver used to make light-sensitive material appeared in a single solution. It transformed what had always been a two-step process into a single step, making photography more accessible to everyone. The solution was eventually applied to paper and film in 1888 when the Kodak camera was invented. Photography became something in which the general population could participate. There's a video by the Royal Society of Chemistry that explains how silver chloride is used in photography. As light is shown on the paper with silver chloride, the chloride product darkens and turns into silver, which leaves an imprint on the paper that wasn't there before. Then green technology. This is really where it's starting to really grow. It has been speculated that by many that silver used in solar panels will be reduced with copper and aluminum being used as substitutes. Despite these claims, a study commissioned by the Silver Institute noted, however, CRU's analysts state silver's unmatched electroconductive qualities means there is a physical limit on the possibility of further reducing silver loadings in cell production, as efficiency losses outweigh the benefits achieved from cheaper raw materials such as copper or aluminum. And limited substitute. Due to the relatively scarce nature of silver, industries will continue to look for silver substitutes where they can, even though most substitutes fail to replicate all of the important features that silver provide. Per the U.S. Geological Survey, silver substitutes being developed in the following technologies: in photography, digital processing, and silverless black and white technologies are actively being developed and refined. Surgical pens are being made of stainless steel, titanium, and tantalum. Many of these already substitute stainless steel instead of silver for flatware, mainly for price considerations. In some cases, non-silver batteries are being developed to reduce the amount of silver needed for battery technology. Aluminum and rhodium are replacing silver mirrors and reflective silver surfaces. On the same token, silver is being developed as a replacement for more expensive palladium and platinum for automotive catalytic converters for off-road vehicles, and that's interesting. I didn't realize that silver could be used as a catalyst, considering its density, but nonetheless, that is quite fascinating for sure. And I should also note, as with regards to technology, my guess is probably we'll just maybe see less silver being used because they can squeeze more out of a smaller amount of silver, essentially Moore's law backwards with regards to technology. But nonetheless, I believe silver will remain in demand with these technologies for years to come. Silver as money. The history of silver as money over the last 6,000 years can be summed up as follows. From ancient Mesopotamia to the U.S. Constitution, Silver has been the longest running metallic money standard in world history, and this is what I think is the most fascinating aspect of the history of silver. The Mesopotamian silver was used from 4,000 years BC, where silver, gold, and barley were used as payment. Shekels were of a specific weight, which had been used in cultures across the Middle East for centuries. The Phoenicians, known as the great traders, spread silver across the Mediterranean into Asia, including Assyria, in the form of ingots, discs, and rings. In ancient Egypt, silver was as rare as gold and therefore just as valuable in trade. That's right, they haven't found vast discoveries. The silver mountain in Peru wasn't discovered yet. So silver definitely was as rare, for sure. Hack silver, such as silver nuggets and rough cut pieces, were used in ancient India from the 8th to 9th century before Christ. China's silver mines were exploited for their silver, which was then used to replace silk as a primary currency. The earliest mints were found between 650 to 600 BC in Asia Minor. During the 6th century BC, the first coins were minted in Lydia, which were made of electrum, a natural alloy of gold and silver, or of pure gold or pure silver, and they were stamped with a design by the state. The first Greek coins appeared in Aegina in 600 BCE or even earlier, which were silver was used as a turtle designed a symbol of the city's prosperity based off maritime trade. In the Bible, silver was referred to as money for trade. Daily wages were commonly paid in silver, where 22 pieces of silver in a standard unit represented a laborer's wage for a year. In the first millennium AD, silver was used all over Europe, Asia, and North Africa as money and trade for goods and services. And then, during the 12th and 14th centuries AD, Korea used amboyong, silver vase, as a form of currency and trade. It was stamped by the state and given an official rate exchanged with rice, a staple food. In the U.S., the Coinage Act of 1792 refers to the dollar in terms of 371.25 grains of silver, making silver the first official metallic currency used in the country. Article 1, Section 10 of the U.S. Constitution states that no state shall make anything other than gold and silver coin as tender in payment of debts officially established the bimetallic standard. So moving ahead, silver production. It has an interesting production profile because most of the silver produced in the world is not from primary silver mines, but instead where silver is a byproduct of some of the other product that is being sought after. In fact, about 30% of annual supply comes from primary silver mines, while about 36% is produced of lead and zinc operations. That's interesting. Further, 20% of silver production actually comes from mines where copper is a primary product. And that is interesting. And I've also heard nickel as well. It's a byproduct of nickel. Only 6 of the top 20 producers are primary silver miners. Overall, there are 12 primary silver mines in the world that have provided data on operations. These polymetallic ore deposits in which wood of silver is recovered make up about 2 out of every 3 ounces of silver produced on a yearly basis. Here we see an infographic on mine production. And there's a lot of data there. You can pause and look at that if you're so driven. Silver's declining ore grades and mill yields are failing, and this gets it falling, which gets into why the author here believes that silver is going to outperform gold this year. This is suggesting that silver production will become more costly, pushing up the floor of the potential silver price. Per study performed by MDPI out of Basel, Switzerland, ore grades and mill results have been falling for some time, suggesting that we may have, at least temporarily, reached the end of cheap and abundant silver reserves. When both the ore grade quality in the ground and the resultant yields from the mining processes are both falling, a strong signal is being given that silver is less abundant and about to get more expensive. Considering all the wonderful uses of silver outlined in the article, where substitutes have only been marginally successful in replacing silver in certain uses, it is very likely we are about to see some more expensive silver prices in the very near future. So in summary, this sums up why the author feels that silver will shine brighter than gold in 2019. Silver is part of an age-old religious traditions across the globe. 2. Silver's unique luster has been made into one of the most popular components of many cultures' adornment during ceremony. 3. Silver can be used to keep food and drink safe to consume. 4. Silver has a long list of medicinal uses that are increasing each year as we come up with new uses for it. 5. Silver was instrumental in establishing the worldwide personal photography movement, which is the basis for the popularity of photographic services now spreading across the internet. Of course, that portion is actually dying now. You're not seeing a lot less silver being used for photographic purposes. Processing. Silver is critical for number 6 for the development of green technologies designed for a clean and more efficient environment. Number 7, silver is essential to many of the electronic devices we rely on today for everyday enjoyment and productivity. 8, silver is essential to automobiles and therefore autonomous movement of people. 9, silver can be used as an alternative money substitute when economies experience extreme conditions such as Argentina and Brazil. Indeed, silver was the first monetary metal and has existed in the context for over 6,000 years and is cheaper per ounce when times are tough. 10. Silver is used in coins and metal for wealth preservation because it is expected to grow in use and value while available production declines at the same time. Unlike gold, most silver is not safely stored away in bars and coins. So if you're trying to decide which precious metal is more valuable moving forward, then the author says to pick up silver, but really you can't go wrong with either one of them. That's true. And here's his disclosure, and I'll kind of give my little opinion on this too. But he says he's got no positions in any stocks mentioned, and in no plans to initiate any positions within the next 72 hours. He wrote this article himself, which expresses his own opinions. He's not receiving any compensation for it. He's got no business relationship with any company whose stock is mentioned in this article. An additional disclosure, he owns silver. I will also further say that many of these reasons here above don't necessarily provide a good argument on why it will outperform gold, especially considering that because of the economic situation in which I mentioned in the prior video with regards to trade and manufacturing and overall global economic downturn potentially, we could see less silver being used for these products because less of them will be produced, and also because of the quality of the mining ores and stuff that are out there. I think there's a lot more wiggle room for silver in that case because it is mainly a byproduct, as mentioned in here, of other precious metals. So it's not going to have some of the same constraints that gold would, because gold is a primary, almost completely a primary element of mining. But nonetheless, it is an interesting article and definitely does provide a good summary of why silver and it is so versatile, both as an industrial, medicinal use as well as money, and also a reason why we should accumulate silver. For all these reasons, it really is an interesting and a fascinating metal indeed, just for the physical properties of it, for all the reasons mentioned here, as it has been the case for thousands of years. So there's your positive outlook in this two-part series on silver in 2019. And Robert Gens feels that silver will outshine gold for the reasons that has been mentioned here. So it'll be fascinating to see what really does happen with the price of silver and if it will outshine gold. And by outshining gold, I would assume that would mean that the gold to silver ratio will constrict. And what that constriction will be, post what you think the silver to gold ratio will be by the end of 2019. Do you think it will constrict or will it widen? We shall see. But here's your positive outlook on silver as a balance to the prior article about silver being the outcast of the precious metals for 2019. Post your thoughts below. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for watching and encourage you to please rate, comment, and subscribe.